So this is Baruch Fleischman. I'm here at the Tikkun Elevator Kolos, and it's time to start the second rush. So this is a Shar Kavanos. It's a lot of background that a person really needs to be able to understand it. I'm going to go right into it. The idea that we're dealing with here is the yichud that takes place between Abba Ve'ima that has the ability to be able to bring Shefa from the Most High into Zeranpin and then ultimately into Malchus. So what the question is, what that I have here is that he said that in the first Kriat Shemah, that is the one in Shachris, this comes from the Kitzonis of Atik. And then the second time you go back to the first time, and the order seems very strange exactly how it is that you go from the Kriat Shema to Shachris, but there was a Kriat Shema in Karbanos that came before it, so it's the number 2, and then you go through the third Kriat Shema, that's one at nighttime, and then there's the Kriat Shema before going to bed. All of these have a different station from which the light comes from the Yichud of Abba Ve'ima and then ultimately into Zeranpin. So the thing is a little bit confusing for me. And so let's go and see. This says the draw sheni be'inyan shinui ha'hefresh sheyesh ba'arba bechinas a Kriat Shema that you have in the 4 different bechinas of the Kriat Shema. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to read across the top. These are the words of the ARI Kodesh as stated to Rabbi Chaim Vital. So he says, this is where we're at. Be'inyan shinui ha'hefresh sheyesh ba'arba bechinas shel Kriat Shema shebekol yom v'yom heim. So the difference between them. A Kriat Shema she'omrim b'seder ha'karbanos. The first time we say Kriat Shema is by karbanos. Pasuk rishon de Shema Yisrael. Over there you only need to say the first pasuk. Baruch Shem kavod malchus alon v'led, but you need to say that as well. The Kriat Shema de Shachris, then you come to the Kriat Shema at Shachris time. Then there's Kriat Shema de Arvis and Kriat Shema she'alamita. So he's telling us the order of the 4 different times that we say Kriat Shema. So Vehinek Lamon Yisboyer. So he said later on explains. In Kriat Shema de Shachris, the Yotze Ba'orach HaGodol. So we are going to explain what happens in Shachris in a lot of depth. And Misham Talmud, and from this we'll learn the call Elu Hadalad Kriat Shema. From the first one, that is the one which is the most significant in this paradigm, he says has to do with the Kriat Shema of Shachris. Over there it explains. It will be explained. Ki terem sha'on Kriat Shema de Yotzer, before you get to the Kriat Shema of Yotzer. Then at this point, Zah had all of the Mochin de Katnas. What does that mean? It means the Mochin of Katnas of Ima, both the Panimi and the Makif, and the Mochin of Katnas, the Abba, which is the Panimi and the Makif of Abba. Chutzman the Makif b'tzad Abba, he says, no, wait a minute, the Makif on the side of Abba, Niknas b'milas Yisrael, which comes in the time of Yisrael. Well, now I'm reading this, don't know exactly what that meant. So then when you come to the letter, to the word Echad, so he says the Mochin, I guess basically what he said, is the Mochin of Katnis, except for the Mochin on the side of Abba, that is the Makif of Abba, all come in Shema Yisrael, which is the second word. So he said, then you read Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. He said, Niknasim Amochim the Shishach Kitzvos, the godless. Then you see the entrance of the 6 Kitzvos of godless. The Fiyashek Gevora Bekol the Katnas, Nigmachel Likonis Bedechila, because already you have all of them, and now you're going to get, that is, the Mochim of Katnas are all in, except for that one Moach that we said, which is the Makif of Abba. So he said the fish of Gevor call the Katnas Nigmar the Kones, but the Chilach it's already come in. So therefore these Mochin that are coming in now, Ata, Bazah, and then ultimately to the Nuk, B'milas Achad, Heim Mezivug Abba Ve'ima, they come from the Yichud of Abba Ve'ima, Asher Heim Himshicha Osam Amochin Melamala, who bring the Mochin Melamala. This is part of my question, is that if all of the Mochin are coming from the Roma Ma'alos, which means the Ein Sof Baruch Hu, or what we could possibly be able to understand as the transmission, but that is where the Mochin come from. So he says, we're in fact, how do we know that they have stations along the way? And that's what was been bothering me. So the first time is that you're bringing Shefa, which has an origin in the Hitzonius of Atik. Now, Atik is the most penimistic partsuf that we have. He's still going on, the Rav, these are the words, once again, of the Ari. Ki mina penimius the Atik, because the penimius of Atik, after the Hamshek Adzman Bias Agoel, until the time of the coming of the Redeemer. Bimheik Yomenu, Amen. So let's go on to the next. So then he says, Vihine, HaKriat Shemah, the Seder Gabon is the Shachris. So let's talk about that one. This is the first time you say Kriat Shemah. Hu Gerua Mina Kriat Shemah, the Yotzach, the Shachris. It's much less powerful or much less important. I'm not sure what he means by Gerua, but he means less than the Kriat Shema of Shachris. The Shebemilas Yisrael Niknasim Yachad, because when you do this, and you say the word Yisrael, come into Zer Anpin together, the Panini, the Abba, and the Makif, the Mitzad Ima, the Katnis B'Yachad. So they all come in together, and the Tiv will explain once again. He said, but again, once again, you're getting the Panini of Abba, which is filling out, we're talking about Katnis now, the Makif, the Mitzad Ima, and also the Makif of Ima. Originally, you only had one Moach of Katnis, and that was the Moach of the Chitzoni, of the Panini of Ima, which is a given. Without that, there is no life. So he said, but to build that up, you have to say the word Yisrael. So he said you have two coming in at the same time, the Panini, the Abba, the Makif, the Mitzad, Ima, the Katas, B'Yachad. So v'achar kach, and then after that, b'milas achad, you come to the word milas achad, niklas makif to Abba, then the makif of Abba comes in. So he said, b'chiyachad in the mochin the sheshes kitzvos, the godless, along with the mochin of the 6 kitzvos of godless. Now this got me thrown, because I thought we were talking about godless. So he said, and then after that, you get the mochin of the 6 kitzvos, the godless. So we have to see what the context was there, and we will get to the Tiv. But right now we're really looking just at the Rav to give us an idea as we look at our this camera view. So therefore there's no real power for Abba Ve'ima then. To be able to bring through their yichud the proper mochin. And not from above, up above, which would be where Atik is located, understanding that Atik is the penunius of all of these partsufim. That is really the lowest 7 spheros of Atik, are the penunius of all of these mochin. But you don't get any more from Atik except that was already given takes place at Kriat Shemah Shachris. Over here, you're not getting all of that. It's coming from the penunius of a rich below Malamala the Atik and not up above from Atik. But Kriat Shemah the Arabis, now let's go to this one. Geruah the Kriat Shemah the Seder Karbanos is even less than the Kriat Shemah that you say in Karbanos. Because over there, when you say the milas of the word Yisrael, you're going to bring in Shefa. The only thing that comes in here is the Benini of Abba, the Katnas Bilvad of Katnas only. Because it already had the Makiv of Ima within it. So now all you're getting is the Makiv of Abba, but the Makiv of Katnas in Abba. Now, go along again. We're reading here, just read the signpost. This is the way I'm going to do it, is I'm going to read the words of the Rav that need further explanation, but then we're going to come back and look at the Tiv as he explains it out. Now you come to the word Echad, Niknas Makif to Abba. Then the Makif of Abba comes in. The makif comes in im hamochim the shisha kitzvos the godless along with the mochim of the 6 kitzvos of godless. So I see from here that every time you say the Kriat Shemah, there's some aspect of godless that is the 6 kitzvos of godless come in. But then the Abba and Iba are not extending down their mokim. So over here by nighttime, you're only bringing these from the chitzonius of arich. So we had in the karbanos, we brought in the panemius of arich. In the Kriat Shema at Shachris, which is the order doesn't go straight. The Kriat Shema l'shmach, we were bringing in the chitzonius of atik, which is the most panemistic part. It's less than all of them. All that comes in when you say the word Yisrael, and remember when you say it seems to be, that when you're saying the word Yisrael, you're always bringing in Mochin the Katnas. So therefore, what exactly are we getting from this? We've already explained. So he always has the Mochin Panimim from the side of Ima, of Katnas. So always has that. So over here, all we're bringing in is the Makif. Let me see if I got that right. Makif the Ima the Katnas Bevat. Okay, let's go on. Over Milas Achad, Nechnasim Bo Panimi Makif the Abba the Katnas, and when you say the word Echad, you're bringing in more Katnas. But it's the makifim of the panimi and the makif of Abba of Kadnas. But you bring also along with him in Shisha Kitzvos the Mochin the Godless with the 6 Kitzvos of the Mochin the Godless. Oz ein Abba ve'ima mamshichan lachem Mochin. And then what happens is Abba ve'ima are in charge of bringing the Mochin. Where did they get the Mochin from? Elam Kitzonius Abba ve'ima atzman, only from their own Kitzonius. Because for the Penimius of Abba ve'ima there is no time, and with that what he says, that the Mochin should come from that place. So he says like this, V'sha'alpi tam hadab mimarizal. So Rabbi Chaim Vital says that from the Ri, he asked him, what's going on here? And he answered to me like this, Ki kol kachu panemius to Abba. That I guess his question is why we're not getting shefa from the panemius of Abba. Kamucha b'chitzonius to Atik, like say the knonius of Atik. But I didn't really understand what he says. Ella ma pirushim. I only understood what their explanation was. So he said, V'are l'cho seder arbega b'mini Kriat Shemah. So now we see he's labeled them out. We need to go into them again. I need to go into them again to understand them better. But this is the idea, the very idea. Seder arbega b'mini Kriat Shemah. We've listed the arba Kriat Shemah. Melamal to lamala, from the lowest part to the top part. B'techila chagarura mekulim. The first we see the least of them. Who Kriat Shemah shalamita? That would be Kriat Shemah alamita. V'achrav Kriat Shemah the Arvis. V'achrav Kriat Shemah the Karbanos. V'achrav Kriat Shemah the Yotzer. Za ha'ma'ula meshabekulam. So this is the most important. It brings in the shefa that's coming from the highest places. V'lo'olam ein ashisha kitzvos the godless. But in any case, we see that the shisha kitzvos the godless are not niknasim. They do not enter b'midas achad. Ad she'ekonis called the Mochin the Katnas Gamri. So, in other words, whatever Mochin the Katnas that are coming into Zer Anpin, the Mochin the Godless don't come in until they're finished. Amnam hashinu hu b'seder kanisis of Mochin the Katnas kaniska. But the difference is the order in which the Mochin the Katnas come in. So he said, Kafi erich shleimus ha-Mochin the Katnas, Sheyesh lo oz terem sheyom of a Kriat Shemah. So let me read this word again. According to the relationship, the erech, the value, I guess the order of the shleimus hamochin the katna sheyesh lo oz that are in Zer Anpin at that time. Terem sheyom a Kriat Shemah. Before it says Kriat Shemah, there is a certain level of mochin the katnas that has to be there. Kach b'fia erech ahu Moshkim Abba Ve'ima Mochin Zer Anpin V'Notna Lamala. So according to the relationship of what's inside of Zer Anpin, that is what is actually coming through Abba Ve'ima to fill up the gaps, so to speak, or what's missing. That's the right way. He said what's missing in Zer Anpin. Because the general rule is this: Shala'olim hazivug shal Abba Ve'ima. So the basic idea of the yichud, which is promoted by the saying the Kriat Shemah, which is Abba Ve'ima, that is the parts of the dimension of reality that's just immediately beyond, higher than Zer Anpin and the Nukva. He says that their job is to bring in the Shefa. The question is where they get the Shefa from. So they take from the what is up above them, or benini to them, and bring them to Zer Anpin. But all of the zivugim are not exactly the same. And now we're going to go in, before we get to the third drush. As you see, we got to it pretty quickly. Tomorrow, with God's help, we're going to go through the Tivuk Kavanos and hopefully understand this better.